The Storm Prediction Center did issue a watch for many of us in the meteorologist community for what's going to be happening at the start of the work week. So let's talk about what's going to be happening on Monday. So Dallas, San Antonio, as well as Alexandria need to be on alert because we are expecting some storms to end up developing there. Once those storms get done there, they will start to slide eastward, very similar to what we saw here earlier this week. And on Tuesday, those of you in Jackson, Mississippi, Hattiesburg, as well as New Orleans are going to be right in the path of this storm. Once it gets done there on Tuesday, we anticipate it sliding slightly northeastward, and those of you in Chattanooga as well as Montgomery, Alabama, and then eventually extending into the Atlanta metro area, and even those of you in the Macon area will likely end up being impacted by this storm. Now, it's too early to know exactly whether or not this is going to produce some isolated tornadoes, but what we do know is that there's likely going to be some heavy rain showers with this, along with some very strong thunderstorms, and we could see a whole lot of wind with this, very similar to what we saw earlier this week. But we cannot rule out the possibility of an isolated tornado. Now, let's talk a little bit about the development. This is typically what we will see for the month of April. So this is exactly what we see. We generally will have a lot of warm air that starts developing, right? Especially across the south. You see temperatures, air temperatures, somewhere in the 70s as well as 80s, and sometimes in the 90s. Once that air starts lifting, we start to develop all of those afternoon thunderstorms. The air starts getting unstable, and then we start to see much more of that Gulf moisture that's pulled northward. That's why you start to see these storms that will develop in either Texas or even in places like Oklahoma. Now, one of the other things that we will generally see in the springtime is we'll have that dip in the jet stream that we call that trough. And the jet stream, by the way, it's a really fast-moving amount of winds that sometimes will sit anywhere between about 25,000 feet up in the air to upwards possibly of 35,000 feet in the air. When you get that moisture that interacts with these winds at that very strong level, you start to increase what we call wind shear. Wind shear, by the way, is a change in direction as well as speed with height, and that's why you tend to get some of that rotation many of you refer to as tornadoes. So our greatest chance for some severe weather next week is going to be in places like Texas as well as Louisiana. And as we put future track into motion, you're going to notice that this is going to start developing on Monday afternoon. We'll start to see those rain showers in places like Dallas as well as Austin, and then it's going to continue to slide eastward. So Britta, this is something that we will continue to monitor not only today but also over the weekend.
I'm Amy Freeze. Welcome to Fox Weather's YouTube page. We have more great videos on the way, so make sure to subscribe to stay updated on all things weather.